Hey, on to lesson 34. We're going to talk about two ideas, some more types of statements, compound statements, and then some more Venn diagrams. We did some Venn diagrams in lesson 32, and we'll get into that a little bit more in this lesson. But first we'll talk about compound statements. We've talked about conditional statements the last two lessons. Those combine two simpler statements using if and then. Compound statements are two simple statements combined using the words and or. So we have symbols that represent and or. This symbol that looks like an upside down V, or it looks like an A with no bar going across it, that represents and. So what's nice is that we can remember this is and by just making it an A. It's a little trick actually a student showed me. The symbol for or is a pretty much it's a V. So the A with no bar, that represents and, the V represents or. So let's do an example here. In this case, we want to write into symbols from words. So I have two statements here. S is we will go to the beach. J is we will go out to dinner. So if I read this here, we will go to the beach and we will go out to dinner. So I have S from we will go to the beach, and is this symbol. We will go out to dinner is J. So in words and then in symbols. We will go out to dinner or we will go to the beach. So going out to dinner is J. Or looks like that. And we will go to the beach is S. So in symbols, that statement looks like that. We could do just the opposite. We can take this symbolic form and we can write them in words. So I have the same S and J, and now I have symbols. So here I have J first. We will go out to dinner. This symbol means and. I'm going to have to go below here. And S is we will go to the beach. So that's this one. Here I have S or J. So S is we will go to the beach. Or we will go out to dinner. And that's compound statements. We could add a little bit more complexity to these, meaning we could add on another and or another or, and then perhaps another letter. Maybe we have a statement T that's a different statement, like we'll go to the movies. We can throw a symbol that looks like this in there. If you remember, we use that for the inverse and the contrapositive. That symbol means not. So we can add a little bit more, but really same ideas here. We're just using this symbol as or, that's and then of course we can add in the not sometimes. So go ahead and pause here, use S and T, and write these symbolic statements in words. So this first one, I start with T. This means and then I finish with S. So I'll spare you watching me write, and I'll say these in words. We will go to the movies, and we will go to the beach. So your answer should be, we will go to the movies, and we will go to the beach. Here I have T or S, so your answer should be, we will go to the movies or we will go to the beach. We will go to the movies or we will go to the beach. So let's talk a little bit more about Venn diagrams. We can use these to show relationships between groups of numbers, groups of information, groups of people, and the way they're set up is we have a box that contains everybody, and then the circles represent the groups. Where the circles meet, this area, that's called the intersection, and we use that symbol, sort of the upside down U, to represent the intersection. Those are all the elements, the parts of the groups that are in both groups. The union is everything in both circles. That's everything in both groups or both sets. If I have a Venn diagram that looks like this one, it means that there is no intersection. There are no elements or items or members of the group over here that are in this group. So for example, we could have a group of teachers and a group of students, and those two groups will not overlap at all. So let's do an example. Let's make a Venn diagram to represent pets, the pets that Larry has and the pets that Mila has, and where they may or may not overlap. So I start with a box, and I notice that they both have dogs and cats, so that means that my two circles are going to overlap. They're going to intersect. We'll name one circle Larry and one Mila, and then we put in there the pets. So since they both have dogs and cats, they belong here where they overlap. And then Larry also has a hamster, and Mila has a goldfish and a parrot. So it's a really good visual representation of the relationship between Larry and Mila and their pets. They both have a dog and cat. They're both in those circles, and then you can see the pets that they have individually, but they both don't have. If we want to know the intersection of those sets of pets, we can just look at this piece of the Venn diagram. It's very easy, quick, easy to see that they both have a dog and cat, so the intersection is a dog and cat. And this is called set notation. We put the members, the elements, the parts of the sets in brackets in a list. And we wouldn't list them more than once. Do another example here. I have 3 this time, so maybe I'll make a little bit bigger box. We have D, E, and F, and we can see that they all have 1, so they're all going to intersect each other. We'll call one D, one E, and one F. And then we can put the numbers that are in each set in the appropriate place. This spot right here in the middle where all 3 circles overlap, that's where we're going to put all the numbers that are in both. So 1 is in all 3. I don't think there's any more. So D has a 2, nothing else has a 2. D also has a 3, and E has a 3, so that goes here where just those two intersect. D has a 4, nobody else does. D has a 5, and so does E. E has a 7. Nobody else does. E has a 9, and so does F, so that goes here with 8 overlap. And then, of course, F has a 6 and an 8, which none of the other groups do. So there's the Venn diagram. Now let's go up and find these intersections. So the intersection of E and D, so all the numbers that are in both E and D are here. We have to include 1 because it's in both of them. So that's 1, 3, and 5. The intersection of E and F is 1 and 9. So pause here, draw a Venn diagram to represent set V and set W, and then find the intersection of them. So I only have 2 sets, so I'm going to have 2 circles. I can see that they have at least one letter in common, so they're going to intersect. They both have E's. They both have A's. And that's it. V has a B and an R. W has an I, an O, and a U. The intersection is where they both have the same letters right there in the middle, so the intersection of those sets is A and E. Two problems here. I want you to write this symbolic statement in words, and I want you down here to draw a Venn diagram and find the intersection of sets A and B.